Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning into our podcast. My name is Kiana, and today I'm joined with Zulema and Lalo. And today we're going to discuss a major issue affecting many ecosystems, which is extinction. In recent years, the amount of species going extinct is increasing at an alarming rate. More specifically, there are numerous species which are endangered in Michigan. So for today's podcast, we're going to discuss some of these species and steps that everyone can take in order to save them before it's too late. So the first species that we want to focus on is the gray wolf. For many years, the gray wolf has been an endangered species in northern Michigan. While it is protected under the Endangered Species Act, it's still not completely safe. For the first time in many years, it has come back from the brink of extinction. And as a result of this, many people feel that it's time to remove the gray wolf from the list of endangered species. On the other hand, some feel that it might be too hasty of an action and could lead to them being endangered yet again. This poses many problems for many ecosystems. The gray wolf preys on unhealthy deer and elk, preventing the spread of diseases within the population. Overall, the gray wolf is vital for maintaining balance in ecosystems not only in Michigan, but also around the world. Zulema, Lalo, do you have any other species you guys want to talk about?
The spotted turtle is actually an interesting reptile that I researched, and they're these really small turtles with black shells and bright yellow spots that are going extinct, or they are endangered. They're very rare to find, and they say that, or from what I researched, they love to swim, but also spend a lot of time on land. They live in wetlands like swamps and temporary spring pools, but these reptiles are actually really threatened by egg-stealing poachers, hungry animals, and by habitat loss. An invasive species called the common reed is overrunning their homes. Hey Lau, what did you come up with?
I did a bird called the roof of red knot. Food resources is a big factor as well. They're running low on food. And another reason would be storms and weather patterns that occur. They keep on changing and they're not constant anymore, so the knots cannot withstand that challenge.
Another group of organisms we should talk about are plants in Michigan on the endangered species list. These include the American hartstongue fern, which can be found in limestone sinkholes in hardwood forests, dwarf lake iris, which is a blue flower you can find on sandy lake shores, the eastern prairie fringed orchid, which can be found in wet prairies and meadows, the lakeside daisy, which can be found on dry, rocky prairie grassland, and the Michigan monkey flower, to name a few, which can be found along streams and lake shores. These plants are all endangered mostly due to destruction of habitat due to agriculture and other developments, as well as pollution to things like waterways, like streams and lakes.
So a really important thing to think about when we're talking about all of these endangered species is how they got there. So what's really interesting to look at with the gray wolf is they became endangered because there was an overconsumption of their prey. So things such as elk and deer were overhunted by consumers, and so therefore the wolf didn't have anything to prey on or to feed themselves. So I think it's really interesting to look at how endangered species are all connected to one another, and how if one species declines, it can really affect another one, and it's really like a chain reaction. So I think that's why it's really important to be conscious of like how we're consuming these animals.
As you guys were discussing, I kind of realized that we all have some things in common, that deals with our environment, and because of the environment being so in harm by the people that it's affecting all these animals. What has what has some people have done for your guys' animal? For example, on September 30th, 2013, they made a proposal to protect the red knot, and also because of that proposal, they're improving more beach management, and they're letting less people go there, and also they're making workshops to develop and train people on how to react, when they encounter a red knot. So what are some examples that you guys have been doing?
For the gray wolf, actually, it's a great example of how beneficial government protections are for these animals. So in the 1970s, the gray wolf was put on a list of endangered species, and so therefore it would be federally protected. And since then, we've seen a drastic increase in the population of gray wolves. But I still think it's very important to keep in mind that once these animal populations do go back up, we're not too quick to take them off the list, because then they could dwindle after that. How about you, Zulema?
Actually, for spotted turtles, people have really been spreading the word about the Bring Back the Wild campaign for spotted turtles. The money that is raised goes to the following, things like removing invasive reeds. Lastly, it educates children about their habitat and letting them know what they can do to help.
So overall, there are 3 ways in which everyone can give back and reach out to help protect these species from being endangered for any longer. The first way to do this is to learn about them. So through this podcast, we've all done research and we've learned about how these 3 different species have gone extinct or endangered and how we can help and prevent this from happening again. And the second way we can do this is by volunteering at any local conservation place, because they really do need the help, and any type of support can really drastically help and protect these species. And the final way that we can protect these species is by supporting legislation that's designed to keep them safe and make sure that they don't suffer from overconsumption or too much hunting of them. I want to thank you for tuning into our podcast. I want to thank Lalo and Zulema for all the research that they've done and all that they've said. And I just want to remind you to learn, volunteer, and support.